Yep, it's that time. I'm trying again. Good morning. It is the crack of dawn. I'm here in my jammies with my coffee. I was trying to try this Q&A again. I don't know why. It's been so difficult this time. I did lose a memory card somewhere in the house with my first Q&A on it. But I have the questions right here. Let's start over. I'm kind of half asleep, half awake, so might be the perfect time. Let's just jump into it. How does your husband feel about your YouTube channel, and do you plan to do more traveling now that you're retired? We just talked about the traveling, actually, and that was the plan, but with COVID, that's kind of changed everything. My husband's 72, so he's in that high risk group, and I try to do everything I can not to expose him to anything. He's one of those people who's very willing to take the vaccine, when one comes out, and would probably be eligible for it because of his age. And until then, we're kind of just quarantining at home. We go to the store, he goes to the library, we do some things, but we try to maintain some distance and wear masks, and we don't want to infect. I would feel so terribly bad if I infected somebody else. If I had something and I was either asymptomatic or have yet to show symptoms. So we just kind of keep it to ourselves and just enjoying each other and doing a lot of sleeping, too much eating, but not enough traveling. But that will come. I know it will come. As far as how he feels about my YouTube channel, I'm going to say he thinks it's ridiculous, but yet he's very supportive. Like with my clothing boxes, he's always the one just about that takes it to the post office. He'll remind me that I need to get a video done of something when I'm procrastinating. So he's supportive in every way, but he's such a private person. He doesn't understand the concept of anyone going on YouTube at all, or any social media. Has no social media presence. He's private to the point of he doesn't even like his name on things. So you won't see him in a lot of my videos. Some of the travel videos he's in, but for the most part, he's like, making sure that he's not in a video. His mom was the same way, only worse. She actually would remove the label, her address label, off of magazines, envelopes, anything she threw away, and she would just shred them, cut them up with scissors, or when she got a shredder, put it through the shredder. So I used to wonder, what is she hiding from? Is she in police protection or something? It says, what is a country you've always wanted to visit but haven't yet? And I have to say, whoopsie, there went birds. In all honesty, that's changed over time. At one time, it was the I call it the triad of Europe: the London, Rome, and Paris, and that was And then I've also lots of times wanted to go to Ireland because I thought I was of Irish ancestry. As it turns out, I have Irish ancestry, but I wouldn't say I'm of Irish ancestry because it is not my most dominant. And I'm not going to spoiler alert there, because I am going to do some genealogy videos, but I got to quite figure out how I want to do it. I want to put some thought into it before I just rush into it. But anyway, to answer your question more quickly, I want to go to Iceland. That is my big thing right now, is Iceland. And I don't mind cold weather travel. I know, like a lot of the people I worked with, if it wasn't Caribbean or something warm, they weren't going. But I'm good with it. So Iceland, I want to see. I want to go to Iceland. I can't even explain it. I did try to talk my husband into a cruise that went to Iceland, but he's like, you know what? You've gotten sick in the Caribbean. You've gotten sick on the ships before. And he says, the North Atlantic, you're out of your mind. So I guess it'll be a matter of flying in there. But there was a cruise that had like 4 stops in 4 places in Ireland, Reykjavik, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. If anybody is from Iceland and I've slaughtered the name of your large city, my apologies. But anyway, and I may have some Icelandic genetics, which really are Norwegian genetics in my case, I think. But anyway, enough about genetics. That's another video. So that's my answer. Whoops, I lost my question. So yes, Iceland. That is definitely the top of my bucket list for out of the country. Now that you're both retired, will you continue to live in Florida or would you move? Well, with my mom gone, now we have no parents living. We don't have children, and both of us are only children. So we have no, what would you call it? I don't know what you call it, but we don't have a tie that ties you to one place. You know how people like to live by their family or something. I shouldn't say it that way. I have a huge extended family of cousins. I have step siblings, you know, that sort of thing. But so we can live anywhere, I guess is what I'm saying. We're very lucky that way. Maybe we're lucky, maybe we're not. So it's a huge, I mean, when you have the whole country, I'll say, I won't say the world because I don't think Jerry would live out of the country, to choose from, it makes it pretty hard to narrow it down. But I think we probably will stay in Florida, but we may not stay in this part of Florida. Considered having some like lake front small cabin somewhere else in the country. I don't know, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Arkansas, I don't know. But, you know, it's pretty expensive to maintain 2 households. So I don't know if I think I'd rather spend my money traveling than owning 2 places. But we'll see. It says, do you have any kids or grandkids? Well, I just kind of answered that, huh? No kids. I don't have any grandkids yet, but I'd like to have some. I just haven't quite figured out the math on how to get them if you don't have children. What do you do now that you are home? Are you planning on doing cooking videos? Best wishes to you and your family. Thank you. We haven't done a lot, mostly because of COVID. And we did have a lot of things come into our house that belonged to my mom and her house that we still need to deal with one way or another. So, to be honest, just losing my mom kind of set me back. I just kind of lost enthusiasm. Yeah, we haven't done a whole lot of anything. We did go to Miami one weekend. But right now we're just still working through all the stuff in my house. And I think I'm kind of an organized person. If you look at my video on my sewing room, which is a year old or something, if you look at it, I'm a very organized person. And when I get a whole bunch of stuff just in my space that's just completely out of, not where it should be, it's just a big pile somewhere, some people would just jump right in and do it. And for me, it's very, it just takes I can't start. I'm like this, you know. So I did part of it. I have a pottery collection, a vintage pottery collection that I did finally get out of my old thing that it was in and put it into the one that we brought from my mom, a display cabinet from my mom's house. So maybe I'm turning the circle there on getting things taken care of. But basically we haven't been able to do a lot because of COVID, and then stuff in the house has just been overwhelming. So, but you know, I'm working through it. I'm getting back to doing more and more each day. I don't mean to sound like a wreck, but it's just a lot. It's a lot. And as far as more cooking videos, yes. It's just my kitchen is another one of those rooms. I have a bunch of things from my mom's house that I was going to leave in the condo when we sold it, and then it was too much, so we brought it. Now it's all over my cabinets. So I might hold off on cooking till we move into a new house, except I realistically think that's somewhere between a year and 2 years away. So I may do I had in my mind that I would do what I call pantry cooking, where you basically use things that are in your pantry, staples that you keep, and then things that you always keep in your refrigerator, like butter, you know, and so that they are simple, throw together things you could do like at the last minute. If someone came to visit and you were hungry and you say, well, let me just fix something, and you weren't really that prepared. That was kind of what I had in mind, just some pantry cooking. Does that sound interesting? because I do have a couple recipes that are good that way. You can go from no plans for dinner to eating within 30 minutes. So I think those are good. How are you doing since your mom passed? Have you always been interested in flowers? I've loved seeing them, and when visiting Florida, have really enjoyed the flowers they call a stag. I think it gets huge. Are you settled into retirement yet? Is your hubby retired? Okay, I'm going to start with the settled into retirement yet and hubby retired. Yes, hubby retired 5 years before I did. Are you settled in? Finally. For the longest time, I kept feeling like on Sunday night or every night, I kept feeling like I had to this obligation the next day. I'm finally not feeling that and not really caring what's going on at my workplace. Trained other people. There's people there that have been there longer than me. So, yeah, it's done. It's weird because after all the years of working, I thought it would be harder. And I would say it was hard the first month to pull away and not be part of something like that. And then the second month, I think I started to kind of see the benefits. And by the end of the second month, I was done, frankly. So, like the people that I worked with, but I'm okay. I've earned my retirement, and I'm okay with not having things in the background of my mind like, are the rates in yet? It's, yada yada. So, as far as since my mom passed, I'm getting better all the time, but it's still an issue, honestly. It's been since June 20th, so what is that, 5 months? Yeah. I think it just comes back to me all the time because we have so much of our things that are just piled up around here as opposed to assimilated into our things. I think that's part of it. Just reliving the whole situation in your mind when you try to go to sleep, that sort of thing. But anyway, it gets better. It gets a lot better. At the beginning, I had a lot of anxiety, and my doctor gave me some kind of prescription for a month. So I guess better living through pharmaceuticals. Have you always been interested in flowers? I would say yes. And you said you enjoy seeing them when you visit Florida, and that something called a stag. I think that's a staghorn fern. Yes, they can get humongous. Some of my neighbors have really big ones. Interesting thing. Lately I've been reading about people on gardening blogs, and it's probably not just lately, but I probably just came across it, that people steal those from other people because they are pretty valuable if you try to buy one of those big, huge, mature staghorn ferns. And and that's something, because people typically have them on an oak tree, like say if they have them in their front yard, and people come saw them down or whatever. I don't know how they do it without making a lot of noise and getting dogs barking, and because they're huge and heavy. And I think I have always been, when I was in high school, I grew plants. Maybe even before high school, maybe even like junior high or something. But yeah, it seems like I've always had some sort of plants or flowers. I've dabbled at vegetable gardening. It's just not my thing. I did grow some okra, very nicely okra here along the walkway on the side of the house. It's sort of a barren space, and I just put some okra seeds in there, and they grew. They produced okras, but when it came time, and then I grew broccoli on the north side. But when it came time to cut them, it was like I couldn't do it as like my baby. So I'm not a good vegetable gardener, but I'm an okay flower gardener. Let's see. It seems like there was some more. Well, I think that's all of it, unless I somehow missed some. I think that's all the questions. Thank you for sending them in. Thank you for joining me. It's completely light outside now. It wasn't completely light when I started. Thank you for having morning coffee with me and my jammies, my Christmas jammies, and my leftover waterproof mascara that I couldn't get off. I just made a bigger mess, I think. So I just said, forget it, and went to bed. So I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching the video. And I will work on that genealogy thing. I've asked y'all, I think, more than once, and you said you're interested. I'm just trying to figure out the right format to compare. Plus, I bought a new DNA kit. So I think I want to kind of integrate that into that as well. You might be surprised, but probably might not be able to tell. But before I do videos, I usually put quite a bit of thought into them. The actual doing of them, easy. I can talk to anybody forever, blah, blah, blah. I'm a Gabby. But it's the whole planning, the strategy of it that takes a lot of time. Obviously, editing takes time, but that's just work. But the whole planning of it and how I'm going to do it, and sometimes I have to teach myself something, like, you know, how to put a picture in on the screen or whatever. I have to teach myself that because I've never taken any video making classes. Probably should, but I haven't, so I probably should. I just go to YouTube University and figure it out if I don't know. So, but anyway, thanks again for participating. I hope I didn't miss a question. That's all that showed up on my phone this morning.